Good to go?
Right now?
All right.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to Four Wheel Friday. This is our live stream that we do every once in a while. But if you haven't already guessed by the title of the video or by the little thumbnail you saw when you clicked on this, we are doing a big SEMA reveal. We're actually heading to SEMA this year, and we're going to be taking our Ranger with us. And actually, not even just taking it. This thing isn't built to be a trailer queen. We're going to drive it the whole way there. We're going to have it in the show at a booth, and we're pretty excited. It's been a while since we've ever had a presence at SEMA.
Yeah, we've been there before, but we've never displayed a vehicle there.
Yeah, so this will be a first time for us, but we also obviously made some changes to the truck. There's a few little things that you guys maybe haven't seen, even if you're following our build series up to the most recent video. So we're going to go kind of walk through the entire build today as well and give you guys a rundown of why we chose all the modifications we did and kind of how we put this thing together to make a really practical SEMA build that we're pretty proud of. But before we jump into all the details on the build, like I said, we're going to be there at SEMA, and when we're actually there and we have the truck in a booth, we're actually going to put up a post for you guys to let you know where it's at so you could come find it if you are at the show and you want to come talk to us and see it and kind of walk around, you know, get hands-on with the vehicle a little bit. And so we'll keep you guys updated on that as we have more information. But that's going to be coming up just this next week, which is very, very fast. Can't believe how fast it came around the corner for us.
Yep.
So we're going to have that going on. I'll be there as well. We're going to be running around shooting some videos and making some content relating to the show and trying to find some really cool builds for you guys as far as F-150s and Rangers and Super Duties, all that stuff. We're going to be just vlogging a little bit, getting things up on social, giving you guys a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at SEMA as much as we can while we're there. So we'll have a lot of that stuff rolling out over the next week or two during the show, and then obviously post-show once we're able to edit a lot of it together. So we're going to be busy with a lot of that stuff, but while we're there, we're also going to be doing some giveaways, which is pretty neat, and you don't have to be at the show to sign up for these giveaways. It's open to anybody. So basically, every day of the show that we're there, we're going to be giving away $500, and you can sign up for that on the giveaway page on our website. There's just a little widget in there where you're going to punch in your info so you have a chance to win. And like I said, it'll be a daily thing, so if you enter for the Monday giveaway and you don't get it, you can try again on Tuesday, and we'll keep powering through them. So yeah, that's basically everything there is to say about going to SEMA. We're going to be heading out not too long, which will be pretty cool, loading up the vehicles. We're actually going to be bringing our 2013 Raptor build along too. That's our commuter, which is pretty awesome when you've reached that level.
Yeah. Yep.
Built 2013 Raptor.
I'll drive the Ranger up on Sunday, and then you guys will be up on Monday. We'll have it turned into the show, and there'll be 5 of us up there, so we'll have a bunch of social posts, and then we'll have some cleaner videos after we're done in the weeks following.
Yeah, for sure. So jumping into the build itself then, like I said, some different things have changed since you guys last saw it if you've been keeping up with our build videos, and one of the biggest things is just this wrap that's on it. And we're really happy with how it turned out. We obviously wanted to make the truck a little bit flashier for SEMA. It's hard to just roll in there with a plain white XLT and turn any heads. And so this truck does have a lot of mods on it, but we wanted something that fit us and really would capture an audience. And so we did this kind of nice stripe down the side and down the bed side. It's got our website printed on there. We have the sort of splash graphic with it and our logo. It really pulled together well, and the hood decal blends with that too. Yep. So we're pretty excited with how that turned out. It looks really nice for this truck, and it's not too over the top. As you guys know, I mean, doing big flashy like pearlescent paint and chrome is not our type of
not
build.
Our style.
So that wasn't really going to fly on this Ranger. We just needed to find something that kind of hit that middle ground of still looking practical but drawing attention to the truck.
Well, we're also going to leave the wrap on there, so it's something that we're going to drive around Phoenix with and go off-roading with and everything else. So
exactly,
it's practical for for SEMA and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely super happy with that. That was probably the first big thing. The other thing is the rack, which I'll actually talk about in a minute. We'll kind of work our way around to that as we go through the mods. But kind of in terms of general philosophy for how we put this truck together, we wanted to make it a build for SEMA, and we wanted to have a kind of drive and a purpose behind it, and that's where this sort of Overland style build came to be. As you guys know, we initially started with just some product testing and doing some pretty mild upgrades on the truck just to get a feel for things and start putting out some content so you guys had something that you could grasp onto and, you know, get to know the vehicle and see what's out there. But when we wanted to focus in on this build for SEMA, we wanted to do it's like, yeah, it's no use if we are just showing it in a parking lot. Like, cool, we towed it to this point, and now it's sitting here. So yeah, you'll kind of see as we go through the build too, a lot of the stuff is pretty practical upgrades that a lot of you guys with some simple tools and some know-how could even do at your own house. We really didn't get into too much stuff where there was crazy difficult installs or lots of like wild cutting and welding and drilling. This is like a very approachable build with a lot of parts that are available on the market right now. So it's really realistic for most people.
Well, all of it was done here, right?
Yeah, we built this thing entirely in-house. It wasn't like outsourced to anybody. The only thing I guess that was outsourced was the wrap. We can't do
Arizona Color
wraps
did
like
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not we. I mean, you built it all, right?
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, me slash you helping me like lift the rack and the tent onto it. So yeah, that was built entirely here, which I'm pretty stoked about. You know, every once in a while we have to bring in a little bit of help on some of the more extreme builds, but this one really came together nicely.
It also helps that we started with a new truck. Sometimes we get used trucks from Wisconsin that are rusted and used up enough that we just need someone else to deal with those.
Yeah, insider on our hunting truck build we did a little while back. Very cool build. That truck was a lot of fun, but there was a lot of rust hiding underneath that thing.
Yep. I think John had a 04 to 08 from a while back, his black one.
Yeah.
That one, same thing. Just,
It was it was
rough.
Not good. Yeah, not good underneath. But yeah, this truck's clean, which is great. It's obviously brand new. But so enough of the talking about the philosophy. I guess let's jump into talking about the actual parts and what we put on it. We'll start off kind of talking in terms of wheels, tires, and suspension, how we built out the stance. So what we did is the Fox Stage 1 suspension system, which is a 2.0 front coilover that just completely replaces your factory strut. And then we did a 2.0 rear shock in the back that matches that. The coilover up front is set to add about 2 inches of lift to the front of that truck. The rear doesn't add any lift, so it's actually stock height in the rear, but that rear shock actually allows for a little bit more down travel, so that axle has a bit more room. And then if we wanted to put like a 1-inch block or something in there, it can accommodate that bit of lift if we need. But we really didn't feel like it was necessary. It's actually sitting pretty much perfect where it's at right now. And then with that, we paired it to the 17 by 9.5 Black Rhino wheels. They're armory wheels and gun black, which are this really cool tank-looking design that you guys have seen. And then we did the 285, 75, 17 BF Goodrich KO2 tires on there. So a lot of this stuff is pretty simple. Those KO2s are about a 32.8-inch tire, by the way.
285, 70. You said 75.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, you're right. It's 70, not 75. My bad. That would be, a little bigger, getting to 33s at that point. So we're like right on the cusp of a 33 with a 285, 70, 17. But obviously, a lot of this stuff is fairly small compared to some of the other builds we've done. Obviously, like on an F-150 or Super Duty, we've had a lot of builds with 4-inch lifts or 6-inch lifts. We've put like 37s on these trucks before. And so we've done some bigger builds in the past, but the reason we kind of kept this one a bit more tame is partially it's a smaller vehicle. Like the Ranger just isn't as big as a Super Duty, so a lot of times you don't need to fit a lift or a wheel or a tire that's that big. But also sticking with the theme of practicality, we wanted this vehicle to be a comfortable daily driver and still handle nice on the road and have a lot of like factory characteristics into how it felt when you would drive it, and then still maintain the capability of being able to go out and camp with it. Joking. Still going out to camp with it, drive it off-road, wheel it pretty hard, and have more capability than just what you'd get out of the box from factory. And I feel like this is pretty much the perfect combination of that.
Yeah, the Fox Stage 1, we've loved on the F-150 for years. I always said when I had the F-150s that you're good to probably 20, 25 miles an hour off-road. and that's plenty for most guys, especially in the Ranger. I mean, it's not a heavy vehicle. You can drive this to work every single day, be completely happy with it. It's got a great stance. They're bolt-in, so the installation is easy. You know, something like a Bilstein where you're taking off the coil and redoing the hat and all that stuff. These are easy. Like I said, they've been a very popular upgrade. And for the Ranger, they are new. I mean, everything's new, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I think it's a great option for really any of the builds. Fox 2.0s are really good.
Yeah, they definitely did a lot to kind of firm up the ride of the Ranger a little. If you've watched our initial off-road review in Sedona with this truck, it performed really well, but it does have a tendency to just kind of dolphin dive all the time. It was really hard to keep it steady, and especially braking and bouncing over rocks, it would just dance all over the place. And so the soft ride was nice on more washboardy stuff where you wanted it to really like soak up the bumps and have a nice smooth feel, but you almost just sacrificed all control off-road for that. So this sort of brought it to a nice medium ground where it's still soft enough and comfortable enough that the truck feels great and really feels pretty close to factory on the road, but handles itself a lot nicer in the dirt. And then, I mean, like you said, like on really rough terrain, like 20 to 30 miles an hour, you're good. On smoother, like forest roads and washboard stuff, you can easily get up, you know, as comfortable as you are with driving the truck, you know, into 50 miles an hour or whatever. You're not going to have issues with braking a piece of equipment like this in most cases. But yeah, overall fitment was all pretty solid on that. I think there's one thing I mentioned in our install video that was sort of a weird like hiccup I hadn't experienced.
Clocking?
Yeah, with these coilovers before. They came where the top hat is lined up to the 3 holes in the actual top mount on the truck, but the 2 bolts for that lower mount were sort of twisted on this from factory on the coilover, so they didn't directly line up. When you'd bolt it in there, the top would go in and the bottom was tweaked. So we ended up having to just use a pry bar to kind of twist that bottom mount to get it straight, which wasn't a huge deal once we knew what we were doing. And
but
like
the initial thought is that it doesn't fit or it's not clocked right or whatever.
Yeah, it seems like you can't move it, but you actually can without too much effort. Like it's not super difficult.
And you can do the same on the F-150s. We just never had that problem on the F-150.
Yeah, it was
I've
just
never
a
even
weird
heard of that
thing.
from a customer.
Yeah. So strange thing we encountered, but we mentioned that in our install video, and if you are looking for them, there's still a good, pretty simple suspension kit to install. It was just one of those strange happenstance things. With all this, we did have to cut out the fenders, trim crash bars, and make some space inside the front of the truck to really tuck those tires with only 2 inches of lift. And this is a pretty common theme for most Ranger builds, especially stuff you're going to see at SEMA. Most guys are cutting the crash bars or at least replacing it or welding in something different that has higher clearance or making some sort of modification to the inner fender because it really is super obtrusive and it's just hard to get anything even close to a 33 in there.
And what is this, 31 stock is what we said?
Yeah, they're like 31 stock for most of the Ranger packages. So I know a lot of people get upset about that from a safety standpoint. I think it really comes down to who you are. I mean, if you're concerned about cutting that stuff out and you don't want to modify your truck to that point, I understand that's not everybody's game. And I think like you can still get a good all-terrain in a 31 or a 31.5 and fit it on there without too much effort. And you know, you could put a little leveling kit in there and not have to make huge mods. But for us to run a big enough tire to really get the capability we want and then still have the look that we want, without having to lift the truck a whole bunch. It was like cutting was going to be the only option. And personally, I don't think it's hindered the truck. We were able to do it really cleanly. It fits nice. We don't get any rub off-road or on-road, which is amazing because rub, I know, drives you and I both insane on these trucks. So avoiding all that was huge, but we did have to make some modifications there, and there is a video that we did on that where we actually put wheel spacers on behind the factory wheels and then cut everything initially. And then those same mods that we made actually worked out once we pulled the wheel spacers off and did these new Black Rhino wheels on there. So yeah, stance-wise, I think it came out pretty much perfect for our purposes. And when we took it out camping and everything just a week or two ago, it was solid. We had 0 issues with the truck.
Yeah.
Moving on then from stance into the accessories and kind of overland gear or camping gear that was added to this truck. Like I said, the Rhino rack system we have on here is really new, and you guys haven't seen anything on this yet because it was actually sort of a last-minute deal to throw it on. We just were having a hard time. It's a really new system, so trying to get our hands on one took us a little bit, and then The freight company accidentally damaged the first one that they brought in, and damaged is actually putting it lightly. I don't know what happened to the thing, but it was busted up bad. So it took us a little bit to get one, but we managed to get the install done, obviously pre-SEMA here, and get it loaded up with some ARB tread boards on the top and rotopacks and stuff, which is a really cool look. It fits that Overland style. But the roof rack itself is Rhino Rack's backbone system with the Pioneer tray on top of it. So what that means is the kind of dimpled sidebar area you're seeing along the roof line there that almost looks custom is their backbone, and that's going to mount to a channel that you actually drill into the top of the roof. Then the Pioneer tray is the flat platform that mounts to the top of that. So some of those parts are separate. You could actually do the backbone with other accessories if you wanted, or the Pioneer tray with clamp-on roof bars. There's a couple different ways to build it out.
It's sold, yeah, so it's sold like that on our site, where it's one full kit, but you don't have to run the platform. You could run a different size, you could run crossbars, whatever.
Exactly. So this one was cool, though. It really fit for our idea of the build. Just getting that Overland look and something that's really practical and strong, because you could even throw a rooftop tent up on that if you wanted. I mean, you can sit or stand on it, walk on it. It's a very strong rack, which is great. I will say, though, that we slightly underestimated how much work and how much risk was involved in installing that. As nice as it is and as good as the fitment is once it's on, it does require you to drill something like 18 holes, or 16 holes, excuse me, in the roof of the truck, and you're going to be drilling on either sides of your curtain airbags. You do have to actually cut the aluminum channel or channel filler that's on the roof to make space for the new channel that mounts the backbone. So a lot of that is a little bit involved. If you're handy with power tools and you have this stuff available and you're willing to take the risk of drilling into the roof of your truck, it can be done. And we do have a full install video that we put together on this. It'll be coming out pretty soon that walks through all of that, so you can see what it really takes and if it's the right move for you or not. But yeah, it was a bit more work than we anticipated.
That being said,
sure.
It's also probably the cleanest install that you can get. It's the cleanest look. I mean, it sits as low profile as anything you can get. So
yeah,
it's a give and take.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. If you want that really custom, clean fit that looks like it's built for the truck, you kind of have to make that sacrifice. So it's one of those things where it's just good to know what you're getting into. But we managed to get through it. We haven't had any issues with leaks or anything yet. The kit goes together pretty nicely for the most part. But for those of you guys who are interested in that kind of platform and maybe don't want to go through the drilling, looking into doing some regular clamp-on crossbars with that same tray may be an option for you as well. But yeah, we were happy with it. Rhino Rack makes a ton of accessories for it. So we have Rhino Rack specific mounts that are holding those tread boards and holding the rotopacks. We added some grab handles to it. A lot of really cool stuff that just adds utility to that rack and makes it a really nicely put together storage solution. You're not just lashing things with bungee cords and ratchet straps or whatever
they've
up there.
Spare tire hold downs. We run the fishing rod holders on another build. I mean, they've probably got 300 accessories that go up that you can hold up there.
Yeah, so that sort of utility is really cool, especially for a build like this if you want to give it a couple different purposes. Moving on from that, obviously there was a lot of work done on the back of this truck, being a off-road camping style build. We did a deck drawer system, we did the bed rack, and we did the tent and everything back on there. So first thing we'll say is that the decked drawers, we've had a bit of experience. We had them in our hunting truck that I actually mentioned earlier, and we had them in my Tremor, the F-150 Overland build that we did there. And then now we have the newest decked system for this, which is very similar to the F-150 ones, just kind of shrunk down for a Ranger.
Yeah, so you've got one full-size drawer that you have in the bigger builds, and then you've got one smaller drawer. The other thing I really like is on the old system, I don't know if you remember on the hunting truck, but if you were parked on a slope and you open that drawer, it would just slide back in.
Yeah.
And so now these come out and they kind of have a notch, and so they hold themselves open, which is a really nice upgrade.
Yeah, way more handy than you would think. The amount of times that you want it to stay open, it's like it comes in handy. They've done a few kind of I don't know what you'd say, like
just upgrades.
Easy, make your life a little easier type of upgrades. Ease of use to it, which is good. Like they're still kind of evolving and building on that product. And as far as install is concerned, that video, if you watch, it's a pretty lengthy install. There's a lot of nuts and bolts to turn on that. But I will say, shout out to Decked for some of the most incredible install instructions I've ever seen. Really good pictures, really detailed diagrams, like every single step of the way. That they make it very clear on how to put it together.
And they need to. I mean, when you get that out of the box, I think everyone assumes that you're going to get what's in the picture and that it's going to come built and you're going to drop it into the bed of the truck. And that's not the case. There's a bunch of pieces to it, but they do really nice instructions. And it's a really high quality kit. Everything that they say fits together very nice.
Yeah, I've been super impressed with that. I mean, I knew I liked the system obviously from having it in my truck, but after doing a full install video and building it into the Ranger, it was just a reminder of how well they make these kits and how nicely they fit in there.
And how secure they are. That's the other thing, is I think a lot of people think it just sits there, and if you hit a bump, it may come up or whatever, but it's very secure in your truck bed.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can probably talk up Decked for a while. I do really like that product. I will say for some guys, there is an argument of like, well, I could build drawers for the back of my truck out of wood, and you probably could do that really cheap, especially if you have the know-how. There's a lot of really good drawer systems that I've seen guys make custom for their vehicle, and that can be a lot more affordable. Deck's stuff isn't cheap, but you do get what you pay for, and if you're not handy like that to where you can just craft something out of scratch, this is a good option. And especially in the world of like work and fleet, a lot of those guys just need a system they can duplicate. They're like, we got 3 or 4 trucks here that need drawers in them.
And those guys also, a lot of times they'll lease stuff, and so they turn it back in, and so they're going to use that in the next vehicle anyway. They always get 5 beds or 6 5 beds or whatever that is. So yeah, it's definitely got a value.
Yeah, pretty smart. The RCI rack is a relatively simple part. That's what our tent's sitting on, that utility style rack. But this is another one where we've used it a couple times on other builds and have just been happy with it. It's one of those pieces that just works. So that's the similar rack. I actually had the older version on my F-150, the Tremor, with my tent on it. The new version that we got is still a 12-inch tall bed rack for the Ranger, but they made it a little bit more adjustable width-wise now, so it's just a bit more universal. You could buy one for your F-150, and then if you bought a Ranger down the road, you could actually put it on the Ranger and just slide it in, so it's compressed, which I like. It gives that some longevity if you're changing vehicles up.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, it fits perfect. It has all the little channels and notches cut in the side where you can mount accessories to it. You can bolt on a shovel or an axe, things like that. I had some quick fist mounts on my truck where I'd done that, and also a high lift mount on the other side. So build quality solid, powder coat looks really good. It's one of those pieces, like I said, there's not a lot of details to talk about with it. It kind of just plops on there and does what it says it does.
Packaging was great. That's something else with powder coated parts. True. You know, a lot of times you'll get a nick in something, and the manufacturer would take it back, but do you really want to deal with that? You've got the part you want to mount your tent or whatever. Everything was shrink wrapped, it was in bubble, it was really nice. We didn't have a single bit of powder coat chipped off.
Yeah.
Which is saying something, because there was a lot of pieces.
Yeah, there was. We actually show that in the vlog where we installed it. There's just a mass pile of packaging left.
Yep.
And actually, it's worth noting too, so RCI makes a 18-inch tall version of that rack, so it'll set the tent up kind of above your roof line, or like right sort of in that area, depending on your vehicle. We went for the 12-inch one, which is shorter because it brings the tent down, and you can tell on the Ranger when you look at pictures that, especially with the rack now, it's all kind of even across the top, and it's not just shooting out above the roof line. It's just better for off-roading's sake, so you're not whacking the tent against branches and things. You have more roof clearance, and then obviously the more weight that you can keep lower on the vehicle, the better. This thing's, still going to have the weight of a tent up there, and it can be a bit cumbersome, but having it sunk down like that does make a difference in the drivability of the truck. And we knew that, like with the deck system and everything else, the purpose of this wasn't going to be to haul lumber and stuff, or couches or things in the back of the vehicle. So depending on who you are, maybe a committed sort of overland style rack like that isn't the perfect choice for you. But if you definitely want a sturdy way to mount a tent, and something that just works, like the RCI is pretty hard to beat in that regard.
And you can get it back off of there pretty quick too.
Yeah, it's a clamp-on install. So I mean, with literally a socket and a ratchet, you just loosen up those clamps, and you and a buddy can lift that thing off there and make space if you really need. On top of that rack, like I mentioned, we've got the Free Spirit Recreation, their High Country 55-inch tent. So that's a fold-out style one, sort of a clamshell. And really, really excellent tent. We've used Free Spirit stuff quite a bit in the past, and so this was one that they hooked us up with, that they're like, this will be perfect for your build. It's going to fit on your rack. It'll fit on the bed. And sure enough, the measurements are dead on. I mean, the thing is like the size of the Ranger bed. FSR stuff, even from my experience with my F-150, that plus the RCI rack bolts up really nicely. Like they're like designed, the way the slots are cut and everything, and the hardware fits. You don't usually have to change much. It really feels like they're meant to work together, which I like. The less custom stuff you have to do in there with buying new hardware, or changing brackets and moving things around, the better. It just gives you a cleaner fit. But the tent itself is awesome. We camped in it recently. Like we said, we took this truck up north, and we took the Raptor up as well as the blue truck, and went fishing and just spent some time and actually spent a night in the tents in a full-blown rainstorm.
Pouring,
it rained like the whole time we were up there.
24 hours of rain.
Yeah, just constant rain. But the tents held up fine. The Free Spirit was great. We didn't have any leaky issues of like the mattress pad soaking or things inside the tent getting wet. It was
No, it's
solid.
great. You've got like a 3-minute setup, which in pouring rain is pretty awesome.
Yeah, the faster you can get that thing out, the better.
I wasn't fortunate enough to be in that one.
Yeah.
I had to be in the one that takes 15 minutes to set up.
Yeah.
So yeah, makes a big difference.
It does, and the teardown's also quicker, which is nice. I mean,
Yes.
once you're done camping, you're ready to pack up and head home. Nobody wants to waste a bunch of time tearing down camp and cleaning everything. So having a tent where you can just kind of knock the rain off the rain fly, fold it down, throw the cover on there, head out that's a really nice feeling.
Yes.
It adds a lot of convenience. So, yeah, the tent's been awesome. Another little accessory we threw on there is the ADD steps, the rock slider steps. I mentioned before in the video on that, the name's a little misleading. They're not a true rock slider. They don't bolt to the frame. They just bolt to the body. That being said, they are really durable. The build quality is excellent on there. I mean, ADD makes a solid product.
Yeah, and they feel strong as far as stepping on them. I mean, you don't get any.
There's no
give
flex or give or anything. Yeah, so they look good, and the step platform is actually pretty big. Some steps don't give you a lot to walk on, but
Yeah, even compared to their ones we put on the 13 Raptor, the
Yeah.
one on the 13 Raptor is pretty narrow.
yeah, I'd say it's almost half of what
Yes.
the Ranger has.
Yep.
And that especially became apparent when we did the roof rack install and now accessing the roof rack.
Yes.
And even part of the tent. Having a good wide board to stand on is great.
Same thing. When we were in the rain, I had the 13 Raptor. Again, it's wet, and
Mm-hmm.
you've got a small pad to step on, so you're stepping on it sideways every time, and that gets old.
Yeah, you get tired of it pretty quick when you use them as often as you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were simple. They just bolt on in the factory step location, so that was really, really easy. And then lighting wise, we didn't go too crazy on this truck like we did with the 2013 Raptor.
Yeah.
That thing, we literally
Yeah.
did every lighting mod you could think of for the front of that, just to kind of show all the different options. With the Ranger, there's a little less available right now with how new it is, but we still wanted stuff that was practical and fit right for the truck.
And we didn't want to go crazy, so you'll notice it's still a stock bumper, and I think that we're probably going to be the only one at SEMA with a stock bumper. But we wanted it to look like the Ranger. A lot of these pre-runner bumpers are just really taking away from the look of the Ranger, so we've got the fog pockets in there that are SAE.
Which is awesome. I
yeah.
like having that option to have a nicer, brighter fog light that isn't just blinding people and
Yes.
it's not going to get you in trouble with the law.
Yep. And I can't wait for someone to come out with the drop-in winch plate for this thing, so you can just leave the stock bumper if you want. A lot of our guys are not going to want to run a $1,500 pre-runner style bumper on this truck.
Yeah, it's a lot of expense. It adds a lot of weight. Obviously, then you have the work of putting it on.
Yeah.
So yeah, but something with a factory bumper is nice. It's good, clean lines, and it just works. That'll be really nice when somebody gets something like that developed and rolling.
Got the hood mounts.
Yeah, the hood mounts, which is a Baja Designs kit as well. That one, obviously the mounts themselves bolted on really, really easy, just right underneath the hinges, and then it's their little Squadron Sport lights. We did the spot pattern on there to get some distance, so the fogs kind of fill with the headlights right in front of the vehicle, and then those spots on the top give us that range out in front of the truck. And those are not street legal. And especially with the position they're at,
Yeah.
they're definitely not. But that wasn't the intent. They're made for off-road use, so that's something where it's just good when you're out on dark trails or even trying to find a campsite at night and you just need to light up the area in the woods and see where you're parking.
Well, they're tight, but I've run them on my Raptor also. You can also move them. So if you get off-road and you're really worried about things off to the side, just go out there and turn them.
Yeah. Yeah. And on a bracket like that, I mean, that's really like you have the option. It's either dead ahead or you can run them like ditch lights and angle them down, or however you want to play that out. It works well. And that is a full kit that Baja Designs does, which is great. I will say that the wiring was a little weird there. They didn't give quite enough room on the extension to make the whole width of the vehicle, so I ended up actually extending the wiring harness to reach the light on the passenger side of the truck. And then with the way the Ranger's set up, there's not a lot of easy access through the firewall. So hopefully, I'm thinking as time goes on, guys are going to figure out some creative way to get through there or something that I missed. But the engine's really pushed back in there. And then with the brake booster and all the electronics and everything blocking it, it was like, did not leave a lot of options to run wires through. So we actually went through that fender on the side and then down through like the kick panel, which still worked out really clean. I mean, we've had zero issues with it. It's not like pinching wires or anything, and it was pretty simple to get it through there. And then the switch we just kind of put down by your knee. So I was happy with how that turned out, and I think it works well for this build, and it's a pretty good solution if you don't have a ton of wire to run.
Yep.
But yeah, I had to get creative a little bit there. So if you are looking into that kit, the wiring isn't just a simple plug-in. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to do a little bit of work to finesse it. Then, I mean, lastly, we've got those little Raptor-style lights on the front of the truck, which are a popular upgrade. Everybody likes that look. I mean, it's just cool. It adds something dynamic to the front of the vehicle.
Yep. I think we're kind of running out of time. Should we move on to the blue truck and a couple things we've got coming up on the 5.0?
Yeah, we'll run it a touch longer here, but that's the wrap on the Ranger. Obviously, like I said, we're going to have video coming out on the roof rack install and stuff like that. So if you guys are looking for more details, there's already the full build series that we have out and that other stuff that's going to be coming out. So you'll be seeing more of this truck, certainly. But yeah, as far as our blue truck, we have that kind of lightning blue 5.0 that we've been building and modifying over this last year. And we recently made a couple more changes to it. We put some Elka suspension on there. We did their coilover kit and rear shocks with Resis. That, if you aren't familiar with the Elka name, they're actually really big in the power sports world. These guys have been doing a lot of quad and UTV sort of suspension systems. I think they maybe do dirt bike as well. I'm not the guy to ask. Don't quote me on that, but power sports is what they're big on. And they've been moving into the truck world now. This is sort of their first foray into it, so we were pretty interested to get our hands on it and try a kit out and just see what it felt like, because it's not like they're new to off-road suspension. It was just new to trucks. So we've put that on there. We've done a little bit of testing. I'm not going to give you guys like set-in-stone review on it right here, right now. We will do that once we've had more time to really run the truck hard. I definitely want to get out on some trails with it and experience it. But we took it on the camping trip. It was nice on the road. That felt good. So we're going to be doing some stuff there, but the Elka suspension's new. Sits a little bit taller now. We also threw the Roam tent on the back. So in our last new products video, you saw us mention the Roam Vagabond tents that we added to the site. We got one from them. We threw it up on this truck just for the time being. It'll actually probably end up on the Raptor eventually. But we wanted to go out and use it and get our hands dirty with it and actually spend a few nights in there. And I had the privilege of sleeping in that one because I made Bill sleep in the cheap one. So I took the Roam because it looked nice, and it actually has been pretty excellent so far. We'll be doing an official review and everything on that down the road. But yeah, definitely a nice kind of mid-level entry into the tent, rooftop tent game.
Very nice.
If you will. Roam's been holding their own.
With the Elkas also, they offer a kit that requires UCAs and one that doesn't. And so we have the kit that requires them, and so we're running the Icon billet arms with the Delta joint. It's the first time we've run those. So we'll have a review out of those also.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I almost completely blanked. But yeah, the Icon arms we did an install on. We're running them with this kit. Those are pretty beefy under control
piece
arms.
of hardware.
We really like went extreme on that end.
Yeah.
But we'll have an install and review on those as you'd expect.
Well, I plan on pushing that Elka suspension hard enough that we may need those.
Yeah, that's the hope. We drove the Falcons pretty hard beforehand, so it's sort of become...
And these are supposed to be an upgrade to those, so I plan on pushing it harder.
Yeah, definitely excited to see how that performs.
We have exhaust.
It's not on there yet, but we do have an AWE exhaust that we're going to be putting on there that they sent us, and I'm really excited about that. It's supposed to be sort of a no drone or very minimal drone type of kit.
It's really kind of got the light there, the Raptor style exit with the black tips and all that. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, looks nice. I mean, the kit came packaged well. They throw a little blow pop in all their kits, which is fun.
You guys are pretty excited about that.
I don't know why that just is exciting, but yeah, we're going to hopefully get that on there, so we'll have a couple new parts next time we take this out to really run and test and get a feel for. Just another stage in this truck's build as we've been progressing it along. And then, I think that's it for new stuff on the blue truck at the moment.
winter's coming, which means we're headed up north again soon to go beat on at least 3 or 4 trucks.
Yeah.
That's always a good time.
Yeah, exactly. We have some vlogs from previous trips where we've gone up there, and it's usually a lot of fun, a lot of mud, a lot of snow, just romping around, and we're definitely looking forward to that. So this truck will be going for sure. With that, we are moving into November now. Obviously, holiday season's right on us, and we're going to have some big Black Friday sales and things going on. We have a lot lined up this year, but we do have some new things in the way of text alerts, I should say, not text updates. So text alerts on top of our newsletter alerts. So if you guys aren't already signed up to that, I definitely recommend that you go get signed up and punch your number in, because we will have some stuff where you guys that are signed up for texting are going to see some of these deals before other people, and there may be some exclusive offers and things like that roll through there. So it really is a bit more of a unique experience if you're really wanting to get the most out of our sales when they're coming through. And then obviously our newsletter, we're always pushing stuff through with different flash sales and Black Friday deals and everything that's happening throughout the course of the next month, 2 months, through the holiday season. But yeah, I think with that covers pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So
if you're going to SEMA, stop by and see us.
Absolutely. Yeah. As we said, we'll update you guys on our social. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, check those out. We'll let you know where our booth is at and all the details once we've got everything officially locked in there. We have most of the details right now, but we don't want to point you guys in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Noah will be walking around doing video.
Yeah,
he's pretty approachable. I know he's really famous at this point, but he's still very approachable.
Huge, yeah.
He'll sign autographs and take pictures and all that stuff.
Yeah, your favorite Z-list internet celebrity. So I will be around, but yeah, definitely come say hi to us if you're there. We'd love to see you guys, and obviously we want you to come check out the build. We're pretty happy with this thing. But with that, that's going to be a wrap on this 4-Wheel Friday. As always, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.